This is the first episode of Around the World in 80 Games. Welcome to Japan. Just coming up now to the Meiji Shrine, which is a shrine dedicated apparently to the spirits of the Meiji Emperor, who was the emperor at the time of the Meiji Restoration. One of the coolest shrines in Tokyo, apparently, so take a look. For those that don't know, the Meiji Restoration was the period following samurai rule in Japan, where basically under threat from the United States, the Japanese were forced to kind of open their borders to the Western world. And one of the things they did was kind of bring the power back to the emperor. And that first happened with Emperor Meiji. So you're talking 1860s, and it looks like he died in about 1912. And this shrine is dedicated to his spirit, and I think the spirit of his wife. Thankfully, while I was in there, it actually started raining. So, you know, it's still hot, but that's actually cut through quite a lot of the heat, making it a lot more manageable. And it's just a bit of a drizzle. Every now and then there's rolling thunder, but nothing crazy. That shopping street has actually taken us straight up to Senso-ji, the Tokyo's oldest temple, apparently. As you can see, I've taken some brief respite in the shade, and I've got my trusty sun hat because it's killing me. Actually, just over to the side there are so many people just sat under these kind of like water vapor sprinklers, I guess, just to try and keep the temp down. But yeah, this place is huge. It's probably the most famous temple in Tokyo, this or the Meiji Shrine. So one of the things they have here at Senso-ji, and I assume other Japanese temples, is the idea of drawing your fortune. So if you can hear that rattling sound around me, that's people shaking their boxes and finding out what the future has in store for them. So might as well give it a go, see what I got. Right, so here's my fortune. If you try to be famous, it will come out as you hope. For example, if you have 3 kinds of hopes, 3 will be completed. Gods will come, and where he points to, flowers and fruits grow timely. Good fortune will come, and it brings you happiness. I think if that had been a bad luck, if that had been bad fortune, there are bars you would tie the fortune to. And I don't know, that must dispel, there's racks you tie to, and that must dispel any bad luck, any bad fortune. But thankfully, I'll be keeping this one with me. Taking a sec to hide away from the sun here, but I'm at the Shibuya Scramble, the busiest crossing in the world, I think. So that only means one thing as a tourist, and it's my duty to cross it as well. But it's only midday, so it shouldn't be too busy compared to the videos or pictures you see at rush hour. Just like I'd always dreamed. So it's finally game day, game one of Around the World in 80 Games. We're heading off to Ajinomoto Stadium right now to see FC Tokyo take on Tokyo Verdy, so a Tokyo derby. Should be good. Right, we're just coming up to the stadium now. There she is. Ajinomoto Stadium. Right, we're in. Which means it's time to go and find some seats. We got an unreserved ticket, which means you just sit anywhere. So we'll try our luck. Well, here we are. Still a bit to go, so the stadium will fill up more, and we're here in the FC Tokyo home supporters end. You can see the main body of supports there on the lower tier. Yeah, so we'll see what it looks like now when everyone's in. Also on the way in, they handed out these kind of plastic bags. So in it you have your matchday program, which is just a sheet of paper. This little package. So it's, there you can see it's bandana, scarf, headbands, everything you need. So I'll open that now and see how it looks. So, here it is. And honestly, if you can't tell by looking at me, it's something I'm going to need. Alright, well it's definitely better. This keeps the sweat off. it's halftime now. I didn't even get a water. I got kind of an isotonic drink because they were all out of water. But yeah, it's been kind of a close half. I'd say FC Tokyo probably on top. Tokyo Verde had a very, very good chance towards the end of the half, which I probably should have done better in. But I think for FC Tokyo, you're probably happy. They've been sloppy a little bit at the back, which Tokyo Verde have taken advantage of, but they've not created much on their own without a mistake from FC Tokyo. FC Tokyo haven't created much themselves, so we'll see what happens in the second half. But it's not set the world on fire. Then we get underway with the second half. Nil all at the end. Crowd here is not happy. Well, there we go. Game 1 of AD finished. Total number of goals seen so far, 0. But I mean, what a game. Like, just the atmosphere the fans brought, both sets of ultras, the away and the home. Like, it was such a good atmosphere to be a part of. The one thing, and I don't even think I caught it properly, I think the recording messed up, was at the end when the final whistle blew. Just boos everywhere, whole crowd booing. Which I assume is, I think Tokyo Verde are a newly promoted team. I think they came up last season. So you're expecting FC Tokyo probably should have won that. But I've never seen that kind of reaction. Like, at the final whistle, the whole crowd boos. They're shaking hands, the crowd's booing. The outfield players go on a lap at the pitch. They're bowing to the crowd. And you kind of had a situation where a lot of the crowd's booing, then they start clapping. But there's still a lot of booing. And they're working their way around and they get to kind of where the ultras are, and the booing is just so loud. But then the keeper does a lap of the pitch and he's bowing and he's just getting claps. So like the fans appreciate the effort put in by the keeper, and really he kept them in the game, he kept them alive. Because I don't think FC Tokyo had any shots on target either. But yeah, crazy. Never seen anything quite like that. Like everything from I didn't get any food because I mean I wasn't hungry at the time, but also I wasn't hungry before the match. Half time the queues were so long. I mean you could have gotten KFC, you could have gotten like there was I think the guy beside me at one stage was eating instant noodles. Other people were coming up with like various just noodle dishes or fried dishes, like just a crazy assortment of food. So kind of annoyed I didn't get to try any. Honestly, this headband, absolute lifesaver. Like between the 30, like I think it was about 30 degrees the entire time. Getting there was sweating. Get into the stadium was sweating. Even leaving the stadium when it's kind of cooled down, it's nighttime. Like, well, it's about 10 o'clock now. But you were just packed in. The crowd was so tight trying to get back to the trains. It was so warm. But like this guy, I don't know if they hand stuff like this out every time or if it was just because it was a derby and a big game or something. But it saved my life. And honestly, overall, such a good experience. It'd be a tough one to top. I mean, it was almost a sellout crowd, noisy from beginning to end. Literally just a shame there was no goals. That was the only drawback really. But yeah, on to the next one. On to well, it's Korea next, but I mean, I'm moving down to Hiroshima and then Fukuoka and then across into Korea. So we'll see. It's not gonna be for a while. I'm at the next game, which should be John Book Motors versus FC Seoul. So looking forward to it. But yeah, like I said, tough one to beat. So that's it for our time in Tokyo. I've really enjoyed it here, other than the killer heat every day, which has taken it out of me on more than one occasion. But I mean, altogether, it's been a fantastic experience. We're finished here in Tokyo. We're not quite finished in Japan. I'm about to take the bullet train down to Hiroshima, there for a couple nights, then another train down to the coast, down to Fukuoka, where we'll be getting the ferry across to Busan in South Korea. So a bit more to see. No more football here. The next football game will be in South Korea, but definitely more to see here in Japan. So I'm here in Hiroshima now on what is essentially a stopover on the way to Fukuoka to get the ferry to Korea. But it's a strange vibe, especially here in the Peace Memorial Park. Like, just, you know, knowing what all this would have been like almost just about 80 years ago. Very, very weird vibe now that it's fully built up and it's kind of back, except for the little bits that they've left. Yeah, strange vibe. Also outside the Hiroshima Prefecture Hall are some Free Palestine supporters, which, you know, adds to the whole thing as well. Like a reminder that like this city was kind of leveled, and there's a whole area like that being leveled as we speak. So, you know, all the signs here say never again, and yeah. Alright, so we've just arrived in Fukuoka now for, I mean, what's really just a stopover. It's about 8:30 now, leaving in the morning on the ferry to Busan, so I'm not really seeing any of Fukuoka. But about 10 minutes from the hostel, and thank God, my shoulders are killing me. I need to go to bed. Okay, we're at the Fukuoka port now, and it's bye-bye Japan. You know, it's been really cool, been really different. Especially like the football game was so different to what I'm used to. But now it's just interesting to see what Korea has to offer. Well, we're on the boat now. We haven't left port yet, but I can give you a quick tour of the room. And there we go. As we watch Fukuoka recede into the distance as we head towards Busan, South Korea. We say goodbye to Japan, and that brings us to the end of episode 1 of Around the World in 80 Games. But it's only the beginning of what is going to be a footballing adventure. And I can't think of many places better to have started this series and this adventure than in Japan. It's been a fantastic experience, both the footballing side of it, but also the culture, the food, the people. I mean, if I could have changed one thing, I would have added in a few goals to the game, but even without the goals, it was loud, it was brash, it was in your face, it was a great time. And it's going to be a very high bar for the following countries to meet. So if you got this far, be sure to like and subscribe, and also be on the lookout for the next episode in this series as we head to Korea.